Hey everybody. Oh, all right. So, I'm going to be talking a lot today. Let me update this. Adam is going to talk about it was the real one. That's the one that prompted me to say, you know what, it's time to start the stream. I was going to talk about some thoughts he's been having about content creation in general. He also wants to figure out some plans for March. Feel free. So yeah, I guess like kickback. And let's chat. Did you get the bot working in YouTube chat? Yeah, I did. Although it's not running right now. I just right before the stream started, right before Melzy kicked off the stream, I checked my quota and I was at 15% from whatever I was doing today. So it's gonna be an uphill battle fighting the whole quota fight. But yeah, all the commands worked, and I'm pretty happy about that. So a couple things we got to do that's clerical. File away ideas from February and stuff. Let's do this. Let's go update the mentoring schedule because I now have Kyle's 4th meeting on here. So we'll copy this one over, and it is April 8th. April 8th at the same time. Cool. That is done. Update the template I'll do really fast too. I just want to get this out of the way. There we go. So this is session number 4, and we do April 8th. Good. I was saying to them, I wanted it to be April 1st, but I don't want to double book April Fool's Day and make people think there's something, different going on. The other thing is, and this isn't totally confirmed yet, but it's more or less confirmed. I'm going to do a one-off advice session with Casey, and that'll probably be March 6th at 2 p.m. So we'll copy this over to here. March 6th at 14:00. Does that work? Yeah. Okay, let me just copy this down to here. Cool. So that's done, and then yeah. Okay, so plans. Because I want to start with this, and I want to say the discussion for just a little bit. So February, I had a few things here. We can no longer get any of this done in February because February's done. But I had set up a brief collaboration of some sort. Does the code jam count? I don't really feel like it counts. Growth via shorts I didn't do. LinkedIn I at least made. I'm not really putting in a lot of effort there. If anyone feels like checking it out, there's the link, but I don't recommend it. I'm not posting anything great. If you're already following on YouTube, that's good enough. Hey, Smoo. So I'd say February is like kind of mostly done. These things about video editing techniques and OAuth, this is still stuff I want to get to. And this plays into the greater thing that I want to talk about here about just content creation in general. And spoiler, it basically boils down to if you want to grow as a development streamer, don't develop. That's my general conclusion. And so this stuff, I don't want to cut out development. I don't want to do as much development as I did during the Botland days. And I think I want to even scale it back a little bit from what it's been. If you look at the last, I don't know, pretty much the entirety of the time that I've been streaming again, like most days, there's at least a coding component to it. Thursdays are a little bit different sometimes because I've been trying to just tackle all the to-do items that accumulate. So those are like busy work days, but that's sort of neither here nor there. That just needs to get done, and that's the time that I have to do it. But otherwise, it's like, it's mostly coding stuff that's happening on this stream, right? And yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about a lot. So I think there's still some of this stuff that I want to do. Maybe a 1 day of non-development streams would be an option, by the way. Yeah, I think I'll kick this off in a sec. Let me file away some of this stuff because it also is figuring out plans for what we have upcoming. So here's what I had in mind for February, which is now done, of course. Okay, so I still want to bump some of this stuff into March. And so dev stuff is going to be, or like, I don't know, learning content, going to be this stuff because I still want to do that. and finish up Godot multiplayer. This probably won't all happen in March. These things are all pretty much done. Yeah, maybe try out YouTube Shorts at some point. Try YouTube Shorts. I think that's too much for 1 month, though. I already got quite a lot. And the big reason why I have quite a lot is this, start making the organization course. That's huge. So, yeah, here is the conversation with me kicking it off. This stuff that I had written down. So I wrote this video to make. I might make a video on this. I don't know. But how to grow as a programming streamer. Don't develop. And saying programming streamer is actually wrong here, because if you want to grow as a programming streamer, I think programming is how you'd get there if you plan on programming. Yeah, it took me years to realize this. I want to test it out now. I said it makes sense. It's hard to follow along if someone codes anything more than a small project. And unless the code is open or you want the code for yourself, you'll never be able to interact with it more. So for example, I open up a bot file here and you're like, okay, I get this line of code, but like, what's at the top there? If only I could scroll up and see, oh, okay, we're in the setup event listeners call or something like that. It's like, you don't interact with the code the same way. And even if you did want to see this, it had to be on GitHub and it had to be the newest version. And then how do you run this? And there's a whole other bunch of considerations there. It's not as followable. So I think development, not easy to follow as a viewer, not exactly exciting content, difficult to make more exciting. What else do we have here? Yeah, and then I wrote some routes that kind of exist as alternatives. So I don't know what, I don't know why it took me as long as it did to realize all of this stuff. I guess back in the day, I was working on Botland, and that was the main thing. If Botland succeeded, then I'd succeed. And that was it. That's what this came down to. And so how does Botland succeed? Well, it gets developed. That's it. There's no other way to do that. You can't have a game just appear out of thin air. You have to make it. And so I made it, and it wasn't a commercial success. And along the way, we determined this whole thing that I call like the product X, product Y thing. You start out making something. So my product X was Botland. And along the way, I think what I should have been making should have been, yeah, something like Adam Learns or content creation or something along those lines. And I was analyzing what is it about Adam Learns that I liked. And I think this comes down to listing some goals that I have, which is like keep my technical skills sharp, interact with people, do cool stuff. And I don't know, it was pretty much the mission statement that I'd had. Where is it? Return to streaming. This, yeah. This is the most succinct distillation of my goals, which is inspire, learn, make, and have fun. That's it. And I still want to do this stuff. And so, yeah. I'm going to take a beat and I'm going to read chat. I think shorts could be a great way to work as an incentive to watch the full video. Great to work as an incentive to watch the full video. Yeah, so like shorts would be a teaser or something. I was debating on trying a bunch of different things, like comedic shorts that have to do with tech but aren't really related to the rest of my content. Shorts that are like tutorials or, hey, here's a feature you might not have known about. Yeah, shorts that are just cut from other content. It's exciting for me. I think it's probably interesting. I don't know about exciting. And I know you're saying that it's exciting for you, and I shouldn't be able to argue that. But I think for the average person, it's definitely not exciting. It's actually very hard to follow, and it requires a very specific audience. I think that's another thing that's tough about this. Requires a specific audience. Yeah. Would it be an option to host Botland on the mini PC? You know, that would have worked for some amount of games. I like the dev streams. I agree, though. They're better when it's something that's easy to display. So that is the thought that I had. Why did I think Adam Learns as a show works? And here's what I thought it was. The projects were small, so they were easier to explain and follow. And each project had a monetization route in the form of a course that I could make. So essentially you had like a proof that it worked after maybe like a month. And if not, okay, well, it was just a month. It's not like you spent 4 years doing it. Was on the mission statement too. That all changed. There's a big battle in the comments about this, which I thought was very silly. The comments of the Why I Left Google video. Don't become another Primeagen. If you dial interaction and content creation the max, the streams turn hollow and uninteresting, although they appeal to a bigger audience. But it's like fast food, easy to consume. Yeah, so that's another concern that I had is, you know, I was tossing around this term tech influencer. So tech influencer is someone like Prime, or I don't know a lot of tech influencers actually, but yeah, someone like Primeagen. I think the whole fast food thing is a pretty good comparison. I think it's easy to consume. It's easier to create, I should say, than just straight up development. And then what happens if you do this for long enough? And I think there are two things. From an audience perspective, you get your audience primed to like this content. And from a creator perspective, you sort of lose the other skills that I value. And I think this is more volatile than just developing, but it's kind of hard to say. For me personally, the most valuable thing for your content is your experience, your solutions to common problems, a way in which you split tasks, high discipline and notes. Keep it up and do not change. Well, so I don't want to, first of all, I appreciate that greatly. I don't want to stray from what I think people appreciate. I think that's really important to keep in mind. And I think there's a way of doing what I want to do and not sacrifice things, but rather kind of grow things. And so going back to what Joaquin said about appeal to a bigger audience, I think this is what I've been struggling with a bit is, what does growth look like with the stream that I have? And so really, like, think about this. Like, how, let's narrow it down. How would I like triple the number of Twitch viewers, just as an example? And I have some ideas. I'm not saying this is impossible, but I think it's mostly going to be like pull people in from other, I guess, other sites where I'm the marketing factor, if that makes sense. So it's like, I don't know, I basically have to do videos that show that people want to watch me and then kind of convince them to go watch on Twitch. And so raids are a big component of what I've been talking about in the past, of kind of raids and staying power. If you think about it, how many people have come through the stream and they've been like, oh, this is really cool content, I'm following. And they follow and they don't end up coming back. And that's what staying power is, right? They liked the content enough, but they were like, yeah, for whatever reason, I'd rather watch other stuff. And I've seen it happen a bunch, but something to consider is the stream has something like 27,000 followers, and maybe the concurrent viewership is like 130 average viewers or something like that. And by the way, I'm not complaining about any of this stuff. I want to make it very clear. This is me discussing things that I'm thinking about. I'm not trying to be negative about it. I'm not saying like I need to grow as a stream. Hang on one second. There's someone at the door. I'll be right back. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry about that. Everyone is coming to the house to advertise stuff at me. All right, I don't know what my train of thought was. Oh yeah, I'm not complaining about this stuff. I'm not trying to say I have to grow. I was saying that if I wanted to grow, how would this work? And so I just don't see this happening after this amount of time. And I don't know what I'd have to do differently to get it to work. And I think it would be a reimagining of the kind of content that I work on. And I'm okay with that. And I kind of want to try this out. And that's what 2024 is all about. So 2024 is a year of experimenting and not monetization. Well, it's not about monetization. And I'll bump this so that my head is not blocking it. More of an entertainer, not very educational. Yeah, and so that's the other concern here is, let's say I went full throttle on entertainment. What would that look like? What would I be doing with my time? I'd still be learning stuff, but I'd be presenting it in an entertaining way, I guess. Or maybe I'm dropping that. Maybe, I don't know. There's some world here where it's like, you are here and we say that, and then where we end up is Adam becomes a stand-up comedian. Like, we can draw a path from here to that stand-up comedy. We can draw a path from here to there, and it can go through tech content or influencing or whatever. So anything can happen, and it's like, does it meet my goals? What is it? I don't know. This is the continuation of the last stream that we did, where I was like, let's talk about the future of the stream. I just had some more thoughts on this. Create hype on top of technologies. I think that's part of it. I think it can also just be just discussing opinions on technologies, like getting people to use things or getting people not to use things. Yeah, for a real world view into the mind of an experienced developer. Yeah, so, okay, if we can state that I am an experienced developer at this point, then kind of any view that I share is going to be from that lens. And eventually I might lose the lens of experience because I might be doing other stuff for long enough. And that's why I say, I think in the future, no matter what, I think dev will still represent at least probably 10 to 20% of my time. And I don't know what it is right now. Right now, it's probably like 80% of what we do on the stream. And I want it to be no higher than 60% at the very least. So I want to at least like take it down a notch. Yeah. Okay, so going up a step, because I think I skipped a message that I wanted to respond to. Yeah, so collaborate with other streamers and raids. So that is doable. How many people would come over from any other community? How long would they stay for? And this is where I say, like, there's a reason if you look at the Sully Gnome stats for, sorry, my fingers were off by one entire column here. If you look at the Sully Gnome stats over, let's say, like the last 90 days, so you have average viewership, you have amount of time watched, followers gained, and everything. Like, if this number always increased for everybody as long as you just kept streaming, then I think it would mean you don't need to do anything different. But you can actually see it's been dropping pretty consistently. And as I said, it's not that that's super important to me. I think it can't drop to 0. That's important to me, that it doesn't drop to 0. But I just want to see, like, what could I do with this year? What kind of content can I try? How can I create things and still, I don't know, inspire or influence people? Is that the keyboard you were raiding with last night? No, it isn't. It's funny. A couple of people have found me through World of Warcraft now just because I have to join Discords for voice chat. And then they're like, oh, I'll look at this person's profile or something. Or I guess it shows in some Discord activity thing. I'm not sure who you were, though, so you have to tell me. Can I buy stock in Adam Learns Live? No, you can buy Botland t-shirts. You consider being a dev advocate of anything? I had kind of considered that path. And at one point, I mean, years ago, before I had joined Google, I ended up doing some interviews as, I would say, close enough to DevRel. And DevRel, dev advocate, I kind of consider them the same general thing. I think a lot of tech influencers nowadays are essentially like DevRel people. That was the mage, okay. I know who it was. I found it funny that you referred to me in the Discord as, we got tips from a mage. Yeah, welcome to the stream. Whatever you do, keep in mind your own motivation, what you enjoy. Yeah, I don't want to compromise on that stuff. And I kind of wonder, what if there were a total perversion of the content here? What if in April I was just like, you know what, full throttle, just dev slash tech influencer, and I start doing videos that are wildly different from the ones that I've been doing. And I kind of want to try this as an experiment just to see where it goes and see how people react. You sometimes feel like you don't want to make a video on some topic because too many people already did it. Like the Git Guide example from earlier. Yeah, definitely. I think if I can't bring something innovative enough to that realm that I would only do it if I have fun doing it. I think those are the two key things. It's either I have fun or I can bring a new perspective. Something like that. Or both. It's not an either or. Yeah, content, DDR pad, software development. Yep. Yep. You mentioned a team last night. It made me think this sounds like an office worker. Because other people were talking about bartending and insurance, I think. You sometimes feel like you don't want to make it. Oh, yeah, I read that. There's a Portuguese teacher that streams Kotlin and Java development. He's pretty successful considering audience size. All started out from code restrictions in which he taught class through Twitch instead of using a closed circuit. Still keeps going, makes it interactive, creates simple projects. Not sure if there's anything you'd look into implementing, but one could say that's a derivative of your course venture. I think the course venture is still a path. And so I have different paths listed out here. And I think I wrote them all here. Yeah. Okay, so 3 main routes. This is what I had kind of thought of. One is the original. Thank you, Real Dead Energy. I'm out of here. Just want to come by and support it. Yeah, thank you. You too. Yeah, and take care. I appreciate it. So one is this sort of original Adam Learns content, which is like learn something, turn around, teach that thing. And so these are small-ish projects, maybe like a month. That is some dad energy. Yeah. 2 is not DevOps. It is not DevOps for sure. 2 was one big project, like Botland, and that would be the project itself is what gets monetized, I guess. And then 3 would be like the tech influencer route, and this is poorly defined. It's like make videos that entertain and like, I guess make videos that are probably more entertaining. No. Here's what it is. Make videos that appeal to more people. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, 2 play a while. So I have noticed something that's been very interesting, actually. I have been joking around in other people's streams. And I have had people come to this stream and been like, hey, you seem like a funny person. And they've watched the stream because of that. And now, like I said, in the last, I think 2 days, maybe 3 days, there have been 2 people from World of Warcraft who've subscribed to me. And it's very nice, but it's like, this is me pulling people from outside without me trying to do this. And I find that fascinating. With clickbait, I mean, I don't think you need clickbait to do that, but I think you'd use all the typical YouTube psychological ploys like the thumbnail framing and coming up with a certain title. I'm running a live service of some sort, consulting, advice, focus grouping, etc. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't say it as one big project. It should be something like make a monetized project / service. Yeah. So like, yeah, something like that. How did they find you from WoW? So I was just saying this earlier. You typically join Discord to voice chat with people, and then you're just on Discord at that point. So people can see in my profile that I stream, and I guess that's what's happening. I think Discord also has some activity feed, and that's how some people are finding me. I don't know. Is doing a mix of those out of the question? Like each day of the week is a different thing? It's not out of the question. I think part of this is figuring out what do people expect when they come to the stream. Yeah. Hey, Simple Hacker. How about that as a service for people? How much would you pay for 5 smart people to pay attention to you for 30 minutes or so? Oh, I see what you're saying. I was trying to understand what this was. It's like a Shark Tank kind of thing, right? Like, hey, pitch me your life and we'll improve it. I think a lot of those sorts of ideas I classify into like niche business ideas that might work, but in proving them out would take a very long time. So imagine if I was like, okay, we're gonna do focus group as a service. Yeah, that would be what? a couple of months to set up tooling and infrastructure for that, and then some amount of time marketing it. And as an example, I have the perfect example for this. I set up this code review form, I don't know, last week maybe. And anyone can fill this out, by the way. If you want to get your code reviewed on stream, you can just fill out this form, and eventually I'll look into this. And I haven't yet. And I've got one sign up so far. And so imagine if I had the focus group thing, how many signups would I get? How would we sort of prove to people that it works? And another good example, I think, is the mentoring stuff that I've been doing. If you look at the mentoring schedule, I've just tacked on one more person here, but we've had 3 people. And since doing these sessions, there have been a lot of people who've reached out saying, how do I get to be part of this too? What do I mentor on? Let me just link in the mentoring command, because the schedule is a link to all the videos. Well, I guess there's also just the YouTube channel, but it's typically tech career mentoring and just, yeah, I'd say it's career stuff mostly. There are only 6 videos so far. I've got to upload the other 2. Bringing group A of advisors together with group B of customers is an Uber problem. You mean connecting the right folks? I think a big open source project would be cool. Review and approve code live. Maybe have contributors on for live coding. Kind of combines everything. I'd like to do something like that. And I think the next way that we might do this is with some kind of jam. So picture a code or game jam. And we all have our individual projects or small team projects. And then at the end of it, maybe we take one of those projects and make it a community one. And the closest thing we kind of have to that is Jump Royale, the game that we play on breaks. So I'd say this is more community driven than driven by me at this point. And I think we could do that with more projects. I think if I'm going to do that, then I need to create content out of it. So Jump Royale is not something I made for content. It's something I made for the game itself. You have to bring 2 different markets together, people who need people and people who want to help. That's true, yeah. Hey, Wendy. Wendy, I think this stream might be interesting for you because I want to talk about content creation, and I'm sure you've noticed a lot of the stuff I want to talk about too. And I think one of the things I was saying here is, where was the general conclusion? Yeah, if you want to grow as a development streamer, don't develop. I think this would probably be, if you want to grow as a streamer, don't develop. So I kind of wanted to explore what would this look like. And like I said, there will still be development in all of this. And I have some concrete plans on the to-do list too. Where is it? Yeah, there's still some learning content. I definitely do want to set up interviews. And I want to try that out. And then, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the tweet. Yep. How'd I miss the first? Yeah, it's been done twice now. But I took your idea, Smoo. So here's how this worked. I don't know anyone's demographics. Those are the people who volunteered to be mentored in 2020. So these people signed up and I just went right down the list and I reached out to everybody. So I am not seeking out a particular demographic. I certainly don't. It was just first come, first serve. That was it. And then I stopped at 3 people. And then Casey suggested something where, what if we did a one-off session? Made a distinction early on. I'm a game developer who streams, not a streamer who develops games. Yeah, I think that's important because that way you at least know that you want to do game development. I think if you want to grow as a streamer, I think game development is, we've seen enough of it at this point to know that it's not something that makes you grow on its own. And I think there are different ceilings for different activities on Twitch. If you were streaming, let's say, yourself playing, I don't know, the original Zelda, like the only real audience you'd have is if you're speedrunning, probably. And that's probably it. Maybe if you play it for the first time in your life, you'd also have an audience. But you're not probably gonna have an audience if it's, your 4th time playing and you're just kind of casually going. People aren't probably gonna watch that. They're gonna watch you try. They want to see you push the limits. So we've had the game dev category now, or some incarnation of it, for a decade, pretty much, or maybe 8 years. I don't know, something up there. It's been long enough. We've seen it play out. I like my streamer content to grow, but I only have so much time, so I have to accept it in order to focus on game dev properly. Yeah. Yeah, and I was kind of asking this question earlier, like if you wanted to grow, what route would you even take? Like let's say now you were a streamer who develops games, and I assume you would just develop way less and talk more, and that on its own would get people more engaged. How does one become a tech influencer for 1 or 2 months? Is this not a multiple years endeavor? I think it's acting like a tech influencer for that time. So the kinds of videos I create, the kind of things I do on stream, like someone had suggested an article to me. Where is it? Yeah, look at this. Like I haven't looked at this, but what if I looked at it on stream? And what if we looked at it together? And what if I shared my opinion on it? Like those are the kinds of things I think a tech influencer does. Whereas the only times you see me do something like that typically are when I'm like, oh, hey, we need to go look into whatever, Podman. And I go to their site and I'm like, can we use this? It's more like that and not like, hey, someone suggests this. Let's go critique this product or something. I don't know what. And so I think that's what would change. And in the month or two that we try that out, we'd see like, is this a good fit? Do I like it? Does chat like it? Does, the greater YouTube audience like it? Twitch and streaming is by design about connecting. Yeah, and I think development essentially gets in the way of that with an activity that's hard to follow for a lot of people. And I don't want to stop doing it. I think a good example, and I know I talk about Kipoga a lot. Kipoga does scam baiting first and development 10th. I should say like second or something like that. He'll every once in a while do a development stream. And if scam baiting, he's got whatever, let's say like 7K viewers, then maybe development, he'll have about 4,000 viewers or something like that. And Zentropy, thanks for subbing. I think this is an interesting thing to think about. If you do development 10% of the time, your viewership isn't going to totally tank. I bet if Kit switched to entirely a development streamer and like developed a lot, that probably the view count would just kind of keep dropping. And eventually, I don't know, maybe it settles around 500 viewers or something like that. But so that's kind of what I wanted to do, is figure out how do I ratchet up these other areas of things to stream and still do development every once in a while. And then when chat is, sort of quiet or something like this morning, this morning was intense development. That was like a bunch of refactoring. Probably no one could follow any of it. I didn't look at the stream stats, so I don't know what it even was as far as viewership. But like it was productive. I'm happy I did it. I needed to do it. But I didn't necessarily need to stream it, I guess. When is the done redemption for points? I told my friend about that, who made the original YouTube comment. He's talking about Thor. He's a developer, but on stream, he's a streamer. That's why he's successful, because he's interacting full time. Yeah, and maybe that's kind of what I want to shift to. See, this is how you know someone's giving good advice, because their name is Adam, and all people named Adam give and take good advice. Yeah. What if I'm still doing mostly what I'm doing, but just changing whether it's on or off stream? I streamed Warhammer Tabletop for a while and it's a super isolated audience. Yeah, and those are the kinds of things that you can't really do much about. It's like there is an audience out there, but how much time are you going to spend trying to find them? And there's what's the expression? Squeezing something from a rock? What is the expression? I don't know. Squeezing blood from a stone. Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, I think it's like that. I think it's like you could. Well, never mind. I'm probably mixing analogies at this point. But anyway, I think that's what it's like. So just imagine that I said something coherent. I understand that, but you could seek out people to mentor. First come, first serve is how the status quo stays the same. So, yes, that's true. I think it's important to understand the context of this because, like I said, this was 2020. I was like, I was having a conversation just like now, and I'm like, hey, is anyone interested in this? And 6 people said yes. I just copy pasted their names and never intended to even follow up. And then 3 years later, I followed up. So yeah, I could totally see that if I were to expand this, that I say something like, look, I'm looking to diversify the mentees. Yeah, that could totally happen. I think someone who could help new people start a business in IT would be epic. I think I'm not skilled enough to. Let me. How do I say this? I'm not skilled enough to do more than mentoring here. Like, what's his name? I'm gonna look this up because I've already been making this mistake by just guessing names a lot. Yeah, this guy, Mark Cuban. I imagine if he were to give you advice on a business, he'd probably give you way better advice than I would give you because he's had several successful businesses. I have had zero successful businesses. So I don't think it really qualifies me to give that advice. But I think I can still mentor people without necessarily being an expert. If you're up for using credentials as a selling point, you can make it like former Google developer. Yeah, I think so too. And I think this is, if I were to do tech content, it's something I would need to consider. I want to write some conclusions as I'm talking about all this stuff because I think there are a few things to do here. So I could be a developer, but make the streams more engaging by focusing on interactivity and not development. So the dev stuff goes into the background and isn't prioritized, I guess. Oh, I thought apparently I didn't make an expansion for that. Yeah. Yeah, and then the whole, if I want to go the tech influencer route, I would need to focus activities. I need to focus stream activities on talking, e.g. reading articles, sharing opinions, checking out people's projects, interviews, code reviews, etc. Things that generate conversation and hopefully are still uplifting. There was one other aspect to this I wanted to say. What was it? I don't remember. Oh, yeah. I would probably also need to use all of the hooks available, e.g. former Google employee, thumbnails with arrows, etc. I don't know what I'm talking about. I think it's quite a hard sell in general. It's very long and slow regardless of how fast you move. Maybe a game a week kind of thing could work, game a month, but even one game a month is a slow bit of content. I think that maybe not a game a week. I think something like a project per week could be kind of interesting. Although I think that's a breakneck pace to keep doing. Like, imagine a game jam. You have, let's say, 3 days to do something, and then you just start another one, like right after that. So when I think of the game that we made on stream, Jump Royale, that was 3 days of focused development time. And the entire point when you are doing a jam is like, cut all the corners you can, get this thing to be ready and playable or usable. That's it. And then we did another thing. We did another kind of jam style project. And that's when I made Vocal Streamer, which is what I was trying to fix this morning, where I could say something like, check out the Vocal Streamer command, and it will say it in chat because I just said that thing. So like that was another jam project. And that was another thing where I just tried cutting corners. I don't need to maintain it. But yeah, I think if I were to do that every week, I'd probably go insane. Yeah, I think you could have the same conclusion Kit. If Kit was playing the most hyped game at the moment and from any activity not being what he was known for. I don't think so, though. I think that, let's say Kit became like the best League of Legends player or something. I think he'd have like probably even more viewers. I don't actually know how popular League of Legends is now. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I think if you're going to just do programming, that I don't think there's a high ceiling for you getting viewership on Twitch. It's just not a very interactive activity. All right. How would you monetize a bigger audience? That I'm not even concerned with right now. So 2024 for me is not about money. It's like it's a distant thought. It's not that I'm never going to think about it. So I guess in that vein, I will answer this question. How would you monetize a bigger audience? I think you would do it through subscriptions, like a Patreon style thing, probably merch. And if you do end up producing courses. So yeah, I don't think it's actually very different from what I'm doing now. I guess the only real difference is if you develop stuff, then you can monetize the products you develop. And if you only talk about developing, then the product is a video or a course, I guess. and there is no product to monetize. So you can talk about a service that lets you, whatever, prune your Docker images automatically, but unless you make it, there's nothing to monetize there, I guess. So I think that's the difference between like now and sort of the proposal. Not trying to slam you, just keeping it in the combo. No, that's fair. I think it's fine to share feedback on all this stuff. I just, like I said, I think with any of this stuff, it's like there's a vision you might have, and then there's the reality of what led to this sort of thing. And I mean, let's also be real about this. There are, like, my stream has a certain demographic. If I even wanted to reach out to more people, how do I incorporate people into the stream? As an example, the male versus female stats in the stream, it's like 98% versus 2% or something. I don't remember. I haven't looked at the most up-to-date ones, but this is typically like the stats I've seen in the past. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know how I change that. I don't know if that's like a more industry level change that needs to happen, or I'm something about my personality or something. Anyway, there's a whole other conversation there. Excuse me. But with 0 businesses, you have less bad businesses than yeah, I know. But I think if someone's trying to get advice on how to start a new business, if they wanted a focus group with me on it, I'd probably need something more than just here's what I think would work. Do I mess with VMware or Hyper-V at all? I used Hyper-V back when I was on Windows. And I guess also I used my VirtualBox, I want to say. It's been a long time. Oh, Adam, thanks for joining on Twitch. I was reading your messages, by the way. I just didn't necessarily have a response over on YouTube. I believe you upload videos every week. Maybe it's a good idea to let people know in the YouTube About page. Yeah, I guess if I'm going to stick to that schedule, I think it's a good idea. I'll write that down. Yeah. Mention Brazil every time. Is there? We rated someone who said that he was specifically trying to target English speaking audiences because there's a better market than Brazil has. And so I assume there are a lot of Brazilian people looking to be in that same situation. But yeah, I don't know much about it. Real world applications would draw an audience. So like develop some development that anyone could use on, say, a Raspberry Pi with your download. I think so too, but okay, as an example here, I made this bot that's responding on Twitch, that's responding on YouTube. This alone took basically 3 months to do. And this is the problem with any development. The time it takes you to get to a usable product can be very fast. The time it takes you to then like actually iterate, market, build on it, maintain it, or even have a team to do that stuff, that takes a long time. And so any real world application, it's like, if we came up with anything right now, what would you even want on a Raspberry Pi? Let's say I make my own version of Pi-hole or something like that. How long does that take me? I don't know, probably months. That's my general guess. I'm really into the learns aspect. Maybe you and other streamers could trade teaching sessions and teach each other different tech things. I think this is a cool thing. And I think when I think of like, what is my current branding? My current branding is literally Adam Learns. It's all over the place. And so when I think about those 3 routes that I mentioned earlier, the 3 routes being either do Adam Learns style content, do like make a monetized service or product, or become a tech influencer. I think the one that seems to be the clearest choice is this. And yet I want to kind of just try this for a bit and see what happens. Wouldn't you make significantly more just being a developer? Yes. Like without a doubt, yes. I think the only case you could say there would be a doubt is if you already had like 1,000 viewers and it was growing rapidly. And then you could be like, well, maybe someday I can make more than just being a developer. But otherwise, no, developer is a high paying job. And like I said, 2024 is not a focus. It's not a focus to pay attention to monetization. And when it is a focus, it's not going to be to make as much as I would as a developer. We're talking like the goal would be less than 100K for sure per year. And as a developer, I would not probably accept a job for less than $100,000 a year. So there's a ton to unpack in that statement. So I don't want to super focus on that, but I live in the US. I'm an experienced developer. If you want to hear a tiny bit more on the topic, go watch the Google video that I did. Yeah. Are you trying to grow on Twitch or YouTube? Both. Some treat YouTube as just an extra viewer pool to their Twitch. I haven't concretely stated my goals, so I don't really know is the answer. I think I just know that I want to explore different things right now. I think that's why these conversations keep coming up, because I keep thinking about it and I keep coming to different conclusions. And I think the conclusion that sparked all of this was if I wanted to grow on Twitch, I don't think I could keep doing the content I'm doing. And that's it. That's the spark for this conversation. It's not even that I have a problem that I say I need to grow on Twitch. And so now let's have this conversation. It was just, I don't think I could if I wanted to keep the same content. Yeah. Just migrate an application from an old version of Sage. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the issue with development, right? And that's, if I haven't written this down, not easy to follow as a viewer, not exactly exciting, difficult to make more exciting, requires a specific audience, and takes a lot of time, focus, and energy. Now, it does not take a lot of resources, which is nice. Well, not, sorry, doesn't take a lot of money, which is nice. Time, focus, and energy are all resources, and it takes a ton of those. And every developer can probably attest to this. You can't just be like, I'm going to randomly code something in 3 minutes and be done with it. No, you like sit down, you focus on it, you leave, with less energy than you started. How to even set up a dev team? Like, where do I search for these people? I think your network is the best first place to search. Like, what friends do you know? What coworkers have you worked with in the past? Who do you go to school with? Those sorts of things. And from there, you just say, hey, do you want to do a project with me? And that is one of the most insightful things you could possibly do, is start your first group project for fun or for money or whatever you want to do, but like not as part of school. To set something up with other people and realize like working relationships are relationships. You will have struggles, you will have conflicts, you will think different things of the product. One of you will stop putting in as much effort as the other person. All of those sorts of things will happen and you will learn a ton from it. So yeah, seek people out. And if you don't have those people near you, then find them. Go to Discord somewhere and be like, hey, I'm joining a game community. I play whatever, Minecraft, and you play Minecraft. Hey, let's make a plugin for it together. Okay, cool. And then you just start it. You do something like Adam Reacts on Monday, YouTube on Tuesday, and regular content on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I think this is a good way to start easing into this if I wanted to ease into it. And then there's the question of, do I want to ease into it? So consider easing into this. And maybe that's what this stream is, essentially. Maybe I'm just doing like one talking stream per week. But seriously, look at chat now versus when I was developing earlier today. I think Mike commented, he's like, wow, chat is really chill today. It's like, yeah, there were hardly any chat messages. It's because I'm not interacting with people when I'm coding and I'm talking about like, I have 6 different pieces of context in my head. And it's just too hard to do those things. You're talking about SaaS or any type of product that can be monetized. If you're talking about, sorry, I'm a little late on chat. If you're talking about how long it takes to make a project, I'm talking about basically anything, but I might be missing the context on where this message is. Things can be hard to grow without appealing to more mass market, which would, as you say, mean less programming, less genuine in regards to what it is you do. Yeah, and so that's the core question. I think you nailed it on the head, is how much is it growth versus how much is it maintaining what I've been doing? And I agree with the mass market thing. I think there's only so much you can do kind of programming and developing. Yeah. I know people who do programming streams on Twitch don't even make enough to pay their grocery bills each month. Yeah, and even myself right now, like I am making less than minimum wage doing what I'm doing right now. And I mean, that's fine right now. It's not a big deal, but it's a thing. Feel like you're too rational and not hype chasing enough to be a successful tech influencer. I mean, this is a compliment. I think it would be, I think I would bring an interesting lens to it if I were to approach it. And maybe that means that I would have just an interesting lens and not a successful one. But I think that could be kind of cool, Like, hey, how do I keep my principles, my ideals that I have, and still somehow try to find a way to make this successful? And I like that concept of trying to pave a way instead of following one that's already been done. Yeah. And I know, Phoenix, you asked this now in the past, and I just kind of answered it coincidentally before I saw that you asked it. Fully understand lack of fulfillment, going through the same. Found game dev, and it's probably it. We'll see in a few months. Super hard place to be in life. It is. Lack of fulfillment is killer, because it's one of those things where you look at Maslow's hierarchy, it's like that's the self-actualization part. You need to feel fulfilled. It's easy enough nowadays to fulfill the get food, meet people. But it's much harder to figure out, yeah, what am I doing with my life, or yeah, what do I want to be doing? Is it growth of the channel that bothers you, or monetization, or both? What is it you feel raises these questions so frequently? I think it's the freedom to have these questions right now. Honestly, I think that's where this is coming from. I don't have to worry about money for this year. I'm in a good position, and I can just explore. So I think, well, kind of weird to say this, right? Because freedom is necessary to be able to ask these questions, but it's not the driver of them. And I think it's like, I want to see if I can do something that aligns with my skills and is desired, and then I guess can also sustain me for when money does matter. Oh, you have the golden kappa, Windy. I've dyed my hair blue in the past, but never green. Maybe that was the problem. Most of the market is for entry level, so you get stuck doing that level, not much higher. Well, I think one of the other problems is if you're a solo dev, you're doing all of the work. And if you have grown as a developer, you don't want to do all of the work anymore. You don't want to be, I guess just for lack of a better term, you don't want to be doing grunt work. And yet you'd have to, or you'd have to hire it out, and you need to trust people, and you need to find people, and you need to know that you have a product that you believe in and all this stuff. And if you're making a monetized service or product, I think that's a good idea. You should find a team and you should get support in doing that. And I think this is where it's like, I kind of want to just test stuff out. I think that's where most of this is coming from. You're a good vibes merchant. Thanks, 81 rings. Developing a bot is also probably less interesting for chat as it's been done before. Yes, I agree. And so that's another thing. If you wanted to be a developer streamer, you need to pick your projects pretty wisely, and you need to go for some mix of entertaining and novel. And I think the perfect thing, and still one of my favorite projects I ever worked on, was Animal Royale. Where's the video for that? This one, recap video. Yeah. This was just one of the best projects. It was a Minecraft plugin where you connected via chat as a sheep in the world, and you shot TNT at the other sheep, and the last sheep standing won. And it was fun. People were engaged. People love Minecraft. It was cool to be able to iterate in a visual way. So those are the kinds of projects I think you would pursue, and not making a bot if you were trying to do this sort of thing and make it as a developer. I think game dev and web dev are generally pretty good for that. They both have front ends. It's like the bot, I guess you could sort of argue that Twitch and YouTube are the front end, but it's like they're not flashy. Like, oh, I could type a command and I couldn't type a command before. That's the kind of progress you see. It's not, whoa, look, there's a structure that just appeared out of nowhere in the world. Like, that's the visual progress you get in a game. Maybe try a more instinctive, less analytical approach. I wonder how much I should trust my instincts, though. Everyone's instincts got you to where you are currently in your life right now. And if you have any amount of unhappiness, then you could sort of argue that it might have been your instincts that got you to the unhappiness. Twitch is a TV show. Got to talk to the audience. You don't. I mean, this is sort of flawed, right? Like, TV shows don't talk to their audience. They produce a show for the audience. And so in that sense, I could just be developing, and maybe developing is interesting enough to watch. It's like if I played pro tennis, I don't need to commentate my own games. I just need to like just wreck my opponents in tennis. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is programming is not tennis. It's not as interesting. Not that I find tennis all that interesting, to be honest. Teach an AI with your voice to respond to chat. That would be pretty cool. Definitely would be. So maybe do more coding off stream than discuss it on stream. As a low-level coder, I do find it very hard to follow. Yeah, I think this is a way to consider this, but then I wonder, like, what's even the point of doing the coding off stream and then discussing it? Why not just discuss other things? Like, let's say I made this bot over the course of 3 months. I'm making a bot. Who even wants to hear about it after 1 week? Probably not many people. And even updates about it. Like, I thought, I made a video about Jump Royale. I haven't made a video about the bot. I don't think a video about the bot would be interesting. I think I need to make it a tutorial for it to be interesting. And I don't want to make a tutorial on that. What do I code? Check out the journal command. It has a link to this spreadsheet. And this is all the stuff I've been working on in the last 3 months. And the biggest ones that you see will typically have commands associated with them. So like Abbott is the bot that I've been working on. Jump Royale is the game that we've been working on. So this morning we coded like another YouTube component for the bot, essentially. What are your main skills that you'd find fulfilling to use? This is I don't want to make it seem like I'm, patting myself on the back here. So I'm going to answer this question and just take this as you will. So I think there's some amount of, I guess, technical expertise, some amount of humor, or at least I'd like to give myself credit for that. Some just kind of personality brought to this whole thing and insight. What else? I guess to some extent, some of the more like level of organization I might bring to things. I think things like that. I don't know, maybe some other random things, some musical thing, some game dev thing, those sorts of things. What programming language do I use? I was using TypeScript this morning. I was also using Python. When I'm coding in Godot, it's C# or GDScript. If it's, I don't know. Yeah, lots of different languages. I was going to say, working in stuff like Minecraft, Fortnite Engine, Roblox, or potentially draw on a more broad audience. Yeah. Mods for the hottest games. Yeah. And I think if you were doing development, again, that's what you'd have to focus. And I think I should write that down as a conclusion here. If you're going to do development, then the project that you choose matters a lot. It's easier to follow a Minecraft plugin than an NES ROM. Yeah. On this weird X platform, I heard you can make quite some money with influential tweets, depending on how much I like the platform. I wonder what the stats on this are, because here's the problem with these sorts of things. You could look at Twitch the same way. Ludwig did a video, I think in the last few months, saying how he earned, I'm gonna estimate here, this might be wrong, but like $1.4 million per year or something like that on Twitch. And he's like the #2 streamer, or at least for that time. So you might look at this and be like, wow, people are making a lot of money. It's not a lot of people making a lot of money. It's, I don't know, top 100 streamers maybe. And so what are the odds of you making it into whatever category it is of people on X who have influential tweets? And how many people are vying for that spot? So it is possible, but I think it's then the same question of the other development stuff. How much work does it take? And what are your odds? Do you find that streaming content wastes if for other, wait, what? I'm not sure what you mean by this, BKJ. Yeah, hey, Manic Fine. I'm doing well. Just chatting about stuff. How much you understand about what your current audience like about your streaming content. I've asked in the past what people like, and I guess let me do this. What do you like about the stream? And I'll say not necessarily this stream. Yeah, there. So now I'll know when I get to this that that's what people are answering. But I think this is at least a good little thing to kind of ask now and figure out. It's close for me because a Twitch bot is one of the things I've ever built. Makes it super cool. Yeah, and this is the other compounding factor of this is that no matter what content you do, there's going to be some audience out there. So someone talked about, what was it, the tabletop game, Warhammer. Someone talked about Warhammer. If you're streaming Warhammer content, it's not like there are no Warhammer fans in the world. There are some, and apparently they're not many who want to watch stuff on Twitch, but some people do. And so you got to make sure you're basing your decisions on the right inputs, following the right metrics. Personally, really like following the code that you write, especially when you use tools I'm not familiar with. Being exposed to new tech and tools is one of my biggest interests watching streams and videos. Yeah, and I wonder, I think I could do this more as a tech influencer than I could as what I'm doing right now. Although I guess I get to go more hands-on. I think this could be an interesting thing. And this is, by the way, this is all steering more and more toward just the typical Adam Learns content. And I just haven't done this. Maybe the answer is right under our nose and it's a blue graduation hat. Maybe that's it. Tutorials are what I personally want, so it makes sense. I would try and steer you that way. Yeah, and I think tutorial kind of content is, again, fits into Adam Learns. Yeah. I think people would be very interested in your opinion on new tech frameworks, languages while trying it out on stream because you're so rational. So it might seem more sincere. Yeah, and people have said that too. So I do think it'd be cool to try out. And I think that also fits into the Adam Learn style of content. And by the way, when I keep saying this, I keep talking about this is like the learn X and then for maybe for like 1 to 4 weeks and then teach X in some capacity. That's what I mean by Adam Learns content, by the way. That's what the show originally started as. What type of content or development would you find fulfilling? But since you mentioned humor, why not do something like Code Bullet and Michael Reeves? I'm not familiar with them, so I'll have to look them up. I'll write that on my list. Look these people up. Isn't most growth for channels happening outside of Twitch and you bring them here? Yes. Yes. And I guess this is something I was touching on earlier. If you want to grow on Twitch as a developer, you don't just stream development on Twitch. You're doing something else outside of that. Otherwise, you hit the ceiling of what you can do through Twitch, and then that's it. You start gaining 10 followers per stream, but you start losing, you know, some number of people per stream as well. And so it forms this equilibrium of whatever your average view count is. This I have not heard. Video that you posted with a project that excited you so much when I watched it just make games, dude. So I think game dev is something that does excite me. I am passionate about, but they're not small projects. And the kind of games that I want to make will probably get me into the same situation I'm in now, but with less of a chance for monetization. So after 2024, I think it'd be tough. But yes, it is definitely a passion of mine. Twitch earners list. I probably can't load this up on stream. Yeah. I think I've seen this. But I was talking about X, by the way. I've seen the Twitch leak. I have not heard about X stats. So like what are tweets making? Like I don't even know how much money you make per influential tweet. Okay, anyway, so here's where I asked this question. What do you like about the stream? Self-reflection, talking about things that are interesting and relatable, like the interactive chat control LEDs, calmness way of thinking. Interesting. Expect you to be a similar level of earners, I see, making about $20 a month from X. Not substantial. Yeah, that'd be my guess. By the way, I don't think things are worth pursuing when they're in that monetary range, like 20 bucks per month. If you stumble on something worth $20 per month, it's like, yeah, go for it. But it's not something worth putting in, you know, hours every week to get to that level. I'm just here for the keyboard cam. All right, I should probably copy most of this and save this somewhere. Oh, wait. I wrote a thing that cuts out the timestamps. So there, let's cut out the timestamps. Okay, now let's make this take up less space. Yeah, by the way, thank you everyone for your input, for not only just responding to the question, but being very nice about it. Usually too focused and don't really afford for understanding larger picture concepts. I don't think I would stumble into that same problem exactly, or at least not when I make something that I would consider to be a course. I usually try to teach why something is the way that it is. I think there are some things where just having a tutorial is fine. Like, here's how to set up, I don't know, GitHub pages. Like, there's really not much to it. You don't really need to learn a lot about it. You can just set it up. It's done in like 2 minutes. And then, yeah, I think there are bigger things where you need to learn paradigms. So let's say you're learning Godot, for example. You need to know how they do things. I think people would pay you not to waste their time on a new language. To not waste their time on a new language. What? Oh, that Adam learns that you don't have to. I see. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Always struggled with organization, drive, and accountability. It's clear that you're pretty good with these. Never paid much attention to it, but since you started mentioning body doubling, I realized I've been passively benefiting from it while watching. Nice, yeah. Okay. How are you teaching X in some capacity? So the way I did this in the past, And this gets down to the history that I know I keep sharing, and I know people have heard a ton, but I streamed from 2015 to 2020. I was mostly working on Botland, and then for the last like 6 months, I was maybe doing Adam Learns. And so this is what I produced in that time. I produced a website, and I had made 3 different courses. So this is the in some capacity. But then also while I was streaming, I was answering questions about this stuff too. So making courses, making videos about it, answering questions on stream, that's all the how I'm teaching it. And then I also make all of my notes public, or at least I try to. So even from, well, I didn't upload them yet, but eventually you'll be able to see all the YouTube API stuff that I learned. And, some people find that helpful. The vibes, every now and then I learn something from both Adam and chat. Could be everything about how to pronounce something or a different approach. And then vibes. All right, yeah. Let me, I guess, add this in here too. This topic has consumed the whole day. That's the point of at least the afternoon stream. We didn't really talk about this morning. Notice not many people mention specific types of content. You could do anything in your current audience would watch. Chat, engagement, lab, and flow. Yeah, I agree. And I think, it's kind of sad when you do change directions and people don't want to follow. You hear this happen with bands a lot. They try a different music style, and people are like, oh, their old music was way better. And it's like, well, that's just life, right? I do the exact same thing with content creators I follow. And so there is some way that I will change from what I'm doing and people won't like it. And it could be as simple as the project I'm working on. It could be something like I started working on a bot. People don't want to watch me make a bot. They stop watching the stream. Totally fine. What I don't want to do is alienate everybody. Like, it took a lot of support from all of you to get to where I am today. And I think there's a path through all this that doesn't alienate everybody. Just send it and work on a game for a few months. I think that probably no matter what, something like this will happen in my life at some point again. And I don't think now is the time. Yeah. And here's a good thing to think about, which is I do plan on doing a game jam next quarter. Probably June is what I'm leaning toward. And so that'll be another time to just kind of explore, make another game, see where it goes. If you like game dev and want to do smaller, why can't I scroll up? Why not do a project the size of Jump Royale every month or so? Yeah, I mentioned this a while ago, but what if I were the jam guy? Every month there's a new jam. And I think the reason I rejected this is I think it's too frenetic. I think I want it to be, if that were my only development thing that I did, like once a month, I'm like, okay, here's this month's project, and it only lasts for 3 days or a week. I think then it could work. And in fact, that's probably something I should write down up here. I think that doing jams much more often would be fine if it were my only real development that I did. Otherwise, it would feel too hectic. Yeah. In my opinion, streaming development process that is not a form of tutorial is pretty much impossible to follow. And honestly, if I wanted to create a bot, I'd read documentation, watch a tutorial, not watch a stream for 3 months on this. Okay, so I agree with this, but I don't think that that's why people watch the stream, is to figure out how do I make a bot. I think it's to like have company as they work, to have someone on in the background, and all the other reasons that people listen. But I'm going to continue reading your message. I think it'd be better to learn about new things offline and speak or show it on stream, especially essentially in the form of a tutorial where you could just kind of speed run the process. I assume that your viewers are either developers or people who kind of aspire to be ones. If your content, no, sorry, I know I'm pausing for a while here. I'm trying to think of how to say this. There's a typo. That's it. That's what made me stumble on that. If your content is development and struggle on something for 3 months, I just don't see how it can be somewhat beneficial. It is just too long to stay focused. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is what I was saying. I think this is kind of true for any kind of development. It's like, look, some projects will take 3 months to do, or some projects will take 12 months to do. And I don't think the development process is all that interesting for people. What dev-related topics would you watch yourself? So, I hear you on this, but I do not necessarily like consuming the content that I produce. So for example, I have really liked making the Minecraft plugin stuff. I don't think I'd ever watch somebody do this. I'm just not interested. And yet people really liked watching that. And I liked doing it. I just don't care as a viewer. It's like if I made a TV show, it might not be a TV show I necessarily would watch if somebody else had made it. Like a week ago, I randomly found this guy, Primogen. If you haven't seen, recommend you check him out. Yeah. Prime is someone I'd consider like tech influencer at this point. And I haven't seen a lot of his content, but I guess I kind of see it as like, hey, I'll give opinions on topics. I'll do interviews, and yeah, I like that well enough as a direction for me. Never heard of Code Bullet or Michael Reeves. You need to check out the engineering side of YouTube. Yeah, I just don't really like watching this content, I guess. I don't know. When I'm on YouTube, I want to watch like Hearthstone videos and Smash and stuff like that. By the way, that's another example. That's like content I want to consume that I don't want to produce. I love watching Hearthstone videos and I hate streaming it. So I think maybe that's part of the issue too. I'm not exposed to this stuff myself, and it feels like kind of homework when I have to go watch this stuff. I miss the old Adam. I liked his musical style. How to be type A, definitely need to move closer to that. Interesting. Interesting. You know, Magnetic Bind, I have a calendar reminder for like a week or two from now to contact you about something that you told me months ago about. So expect a text message from me. I missed the old Botland painting. Do a deep dive in engineering YouTube and get your algorithm to change. But I mean, if you don't like that content, like what's the point of that? Is it to figure out what other people like? Because for that, like as market research, I could see it as being helpful. But like a lot of times, I guess I just don't want to watch that stuff. And yeah, Fox, of course I remember you. Indie game dev, hung out in Tina's stream. I mean, I could rattle off more facts that are much more personal, but I'm not going to do that. I've been mostly lurking just since you came back. Really good to see you back. Yeah, good to see you too. Yeah. Yeah, as you can't please everyone, so you find yourself alienating a couple. Yep, I agree with that. Yeah. GMTK Game Jam. What is that? Annual game making marathon. Interesting. Game Maker's Toolkit. Okay, yeah, interesting. Want to chime in and answer that too? That's what I like about your streams. Is that to me they're a good combination of being interesting, entertaining, funny, and chill. Like I think you've said too. I don't watch dev streams at all, but I'd happily keep yours up in the background. Yeah, and so I wonder if. Thank you, by the way. I wonder if you would like it if I were like, hey, I'm gonna cover some blog posts today that I read online. I think it'd be the same vibe. Oh man. I'm just saying things. I'm gonna copy paste this too, yeah. If you ever did want to get into tutorials, I like this person. They make 8 to 12 hour tutorial projects like cloning Twitch or Facebook Messenger. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I think development streaming is sort of for me. If you want to watch the full thing get built, tune in here and there as it's getting built. I don't know if I want to do too much of that. Ad jam. That's pretty good. Actually, that is pretty good. I should steal this. This is mine now. I like this. Okay. What framework did I use for the notes webpage? I used Starlight, which is based on Astro. So if you actually search the notes on there for Starlight, you'll find out more about that. And then you can also search for Astro and find out more about that. So these are things that I learned on stream, and you can find the videos there. There's a missing parenthesis in the forms thing. Oh no. What did I just do? Astro forms. Wait, there isn't a missing parenthesis. Oh, this is a bug. Oh, wait, there are two references. What? Okay, this is maybe a bug, maybe not a bug, but this is wrong. This should be like this, right? Okay. Yeah, weird. Well, I guess it was malformed markdown. Just watch your keyboard videos. You still have 4 keyboards to build. Get them done on stream and give away in a raffle or sell. I do kind of want to make a video on a keyboard on camera. What would I watch that's dev related? I watch the dev streams I watch are basically just to talk to the streamer. And maybe part of it is I haven't like embedded myself in enough other people's communities. But yeah, it's mostly just to talk to the streamer. And so it's like individual people I could mention here whose personalities I like. But yeah, I don't tend to watch development stuff. Lately, as I've been working out, I try to turn on Twitch and see if there are any of those streamers online and go hang out for a bit. But that's kind of it. Are you considering making videos directly on stream? Like you explore a topic, then cut it up and put it on YouTube, post more videos per week, and people get more concise content? Downsides could be editing time. I I might, yeah. I don't mind doing something like that, but I don't exactly have an idea for what that content is. This Monday, I do have a plan for something sort of similar, in that I want to research the whole bind address thing so that I can make a video on Tuesday about it. But I don't think I'm going to record the content on Monday. I think I'm just going to learn about it on Monday. Yeah. Also, I should probably scroll down a little faster. It has Wild Jam every month. I have not heard of that either. Not safe for funds now. Super cool if you just competed in a game jam, just stream your progress and see where you get with it. I think I'd like to host the game jams if I'm going to do that though. Well, I guess then I couldn't really compete. Yeah. I don't know. I'll see where that takes me. Jams are on the list for sure. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that almost no matter what. Would it somehow be possible to plan the stream so that dev on stream is slightly easier in order to be more interactive with chat? Every now and then bring in the big ones. Changing Python versions. I think that's tough. The closest I got to this is when I was preparing for that first convention in Houston and Detroit, and I needed to plan coding in front of a live audience. So not live streaming, where I'm coding in front of you're all, at your own computers, but I was actually coding in front of real people sitting there watching me, which was very surreal. And for that, I wanted to prepare ahead of time to make sure I could code the stuff I wanted to do. And looking back, I don't know what I was thinking to even have done this stuff. I feel like I should have done different content altogether. But it's a lot of work to do that. Basically, like pre-code what you're going to code. It's sort of like what you do for tutorial content. More interaction, analysis, discussions. Yeah, I think so too. I don't watch your streams to the programming dev. All right, I'm not reading the rest of what you said, Wendy. Get out. 99% of the time, I have no idea what's going on. I do, however, like how you talk about things and your sense of humor. Tune in for more just chatting content. Yeah, I think we should maybe try this. Maybe that's one of the biggest conclusions is just like take a day and do this and talk about what people want to talk about. And this is what we used to do with group mentoring, which I actually really liked at first. It was pretty much just come in and ask me questions. And so people came in and then they kept kind of asking sort of the same questions like, how does a junior engineer get a job in today's market? This was asked years ago. But this question is always a question, no matter what. There will never not be a group mentoring session where someone does not ask this question or some variation of it. Because that's what people want to know. They're like, how do I get a job? Hey, I want to make sure all this work I did studying doesn't just fizzle out. So anyway, I think a just chatting stream where we sort of let chat direct the content sometimes could also be good. Where is it? Yeah, consider easing into this. Yeah, maybe just a chatting day once per week to see where things go, or 2 segments, one morning, one afternoon. I want to try it out. I definitely want to try it. And by the way, a lot of why I talk about this stuff is because 1, I learn a ton from all of you. I get a lot of insight into what my own plan is. But 2, I don't want to spring this on anybody. Like, you're all the core viewers. You're the ones watching right now. And so I don't want to alienate you. I want to take you along for the ride. I want to take your input into account. I don't want to over-index on any individual person's input. So there's a lot of pitfalls I'm trying to avoid. What are you looking for out of these sessions? You clearly gotten quite far by doing development streaming, and it's what I originally started watching you for. Something you have in mind, and are you hoping what we come up with some justification for? I don't necessarily have anything in mind. I guess what I'm debating on is like Adam Learns content versus tech. What should I call it? There's not tech influencer. Versus, okay, how about this? Versus more like mass appeal content that's still tech. I think that's what this boils down to. So Adam Learns is learn and then teach. And the mass appeal stuff is probably like lowest common denominator stuff. So I don't know, like a overview of React or whatever the news reactions, etc. I don't know, whatever. I'm not totally sure. I'm in the same boat as you. Started a stream to take my viewers on my journey of relearning development. Returning dev after being in corporate setup. Yeah, and by the way, there are so many benefits that I've experienced just being a development streamer that if I weren't in this position where I was like, hey, I want to explore stuff, I would be happy to just continue this. I've learned a lot. I've done a lot. I'm very proud of all the things that I've worked on, even in the last 3 months. I mean, when I look at the progress, looking back to here, I'm like, whew, I can't believe that was December 4th that we started this. And now we've got like a decent set of tooling. We got a game that's up and running. I've completely switched my note-taking habits. I used to use OneNote. We've like fully migrated. That was not trivial. They're all online now. I've got, I don't know, there's like a lot of stuff that I did in that time. And I recognize all those benefits. And I think this will still be a core part of what I do. Because like I said, it's going to be minimally 10 to 20% development that I plan on switching to. You can compete in your own jam, but it's kind of unfair, right? Hey, Scoreline, it's going well. Well, I guess if you don't let yourself get prizes, I mean, imagine if you had like $1,000 prize and you're like, well, I am the winner. That would be pretty lame. Yeah, if there were no prizes involved, I think it's fine to compete. But even then, I think the focus should be on the participants. And that's what I tried to do in the code jam. I didn't allow them to vote for me. Problem is, you're looking around and trying to figure out what others are doing that you are not for growth, and now you're worried about it. The key has not changed: consistency and patience. I don't. I feel like my message is maybe getting muddied a little bit here. I'm talking about growth, and I still don't know if at the end of the day I need this Twitch stream to be any bigger than it is. I want the YouTube channel to be bigger because I've never done recorded videos like I have, but that is growing and that's fine. Consistency and patience, though, I guess the thing I was trying to get at here is if you were to just stream development on Twitch, I don't think consistency and patience gets you much farther than what you see as the low hundreds, mid hundreds number of people. I just don't think it goes beyond that. I just don't think there's the audience for development. You just got this though. Agreed with Wendy, mainly because I'm not a programmer. Yeah, and it's been interesting seeing. I know there have been lots of viewers over the years who said, I am not even in a computer profession and I watch, and they tell the reasons why they watch. And I've heard feedback before, like you should do longer intros to your streams. Because a lot of times I start the stream and within like 5 minutes I'm coding. And people are like, well, it's nice to hear, oh, what'd you do on the weekend? Or I don't know, just talk about stuff that people can understand instead of like, okay, we're moving this class over to here and we got to refactor out the event handler. Can't you just do group mentoring, clip sections into videos, make them into commands and repeat whenever people ask those questions, hit them with a junior? I could, but I think that if I'm going to do an interaction focused segment like that it helps for me to give them a personalized answer every time. And so I need to take that into account when it comes to those segments. So for example, sometimes people ask me things that I guess it's pretty much that. Yeah, sometimes people ask me things I could make commands out of. And yet I feel like the advice is meaningful to that person if they hear me say it. I wouldn't fault you if you cut up interesting, pertinent, clickbaity parts of those just chatting streams, post them on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know how I'd edit something like this stream. And I feel like that's the problem I'd run into. There'd be a lot of like tracking of what I said. I'd probably just rather recreate it. I was eviscerated live. My self-respect is now 0. Break time. I'm just kind of barreling through this because I might not do a 3-hour stream today. Excuse me. Also, it's Friday. I'm gonna be going and seeing Dune after this. I wouldn't fault you for phrasing might be ambiguous. It makes total sense. Yeah. Yeah, it's been 3 months. I know, right? Isn't that crazy? Well, it's been 3 months as of, whoops, that's not the date. This is the date. It's been 3 months as of 3 days from now. So we're just shy of 3 months. But yeah, it will have been 1 whole quarter. How did the robot game turn out? Botland? It was discontinued in 2020. It got a few $100s, which is a massive loss given how much money I spent, which I've not shared. But it was one of the biggest learning experiences of my life, and I will forever be grateful for that experience. And that's why, oh wait, I can't just move my body because there's a green screen behind me. I was going to be like, that's why I have a picture right over there. You can't see it. And the reason I downloaded OneNote and my whole life is much more organized now. Yeah, this is one of the things. It's now March, and I've said that March, I want to make my organization course. It's going to be the first one that's sort of premium pricing, at least this much money. And I'm going to probably start working on it next week. I'm going to do all this off stream, so I might need to take some days off of streaming. In construction management, I had missed something that you said though, right? Do you find that streaming content wastes if for other higher monetized mediums? Yeah, I still don't think I understand that message though. Finally, in a software engineering role in a Fortune 500 company with no degree, and you along with other streamers are incredible resources. Awesome, yeah. Congrats, Chomsky. I'm glad to hear it. If I stumble on a stream that's just an hour of small talk, I switch right away, can't watch. Yeah, and that's the alienation it's going to happen with somebody. There's no way to please everybody. And I think as long as I'm labeling my streams correctly, I think there can be streams you like and that you know to watch, and then other streams where you're like, I just cannot stand co-working or talking or I don't know what. Yeah, I want to watch his development stuff. I'm just here for the points. I don't really see people having lots of viewers writing code. Pirate Software, is he coding anything ever? Anytime I launch a stream, he's not. Not really sure what his stream is about even. Yeah, that's kind of my point. That's what kind of started this whole thing. I think development is not an easy thing to watch. And I think that the ways that you make it a little easier are making it things that people can understand. Things like a visual turnaround on whatever you're working on. Let's say you're making artwork. Artwork is very easy to understand as a viewer. Oh, he's drawing a figure of whatever, a robot. Okay, cool. I can see the robot taking shape, and now he's putting it into the game. Okay, I can see the robot now acting and shooting lasers or something. I think it's much harder when you're working on a bot and you're like, I don't know what he's doing, and I don't know what any of this is for. Do not spoil Dune. Oh, I'm definitely not going to spoil Dune. Don't worry. I am very spoiler sensitive to the point where I don't even want to know what actors are in a film. In fact, I saw Wonka and I didn't know who the lead was. And so I didn't know why people were making jokes about Dune when I watched Wonka. And so, yeah, I don't plan on spoiling anything. Just trying to work out what you're really after. You got this question of whether to keep going similar to what you're doing or whether to go full shill. What are you trying to get out of that question? Are you wanting more money? Are you wanting to fulfill some popularity benchmark? Um, yeah, I think the best way to sum this up is I want to explore what it feels like to do these other things. So yeah, I just want to explore. And I feel like I had the wool over my eyes for the last like decade, thinking about, oh, hey, development streaming, like I'll just keep at it and eventually, I don't know, something will happen. I don't know what that something was. I hadn't really fully formulated it. And that something never really happened, I guess. I got a lot of benefits out of it, like I said. And I think I've explored it and I can definitely say what it's about. And now I want to explore some other things. And I still want to do streaming and I still want to make videos. I want to see what falls under the content creation umbrella and just kind of see what this path is. There are other times I've thought about doing things like this. I think it'd be really cool. Like I know how to play chess. I'm very bad at it. I'd probably lose the majority of games I play against anyone in chat right now. But wouldn't it be kind of cool to just like for 1 year, just go like hardcore chess fanatic and just see what can you get your rating up to? But like this is content I'll probably never do because that takes a whole year. And even then, it's like you really have to immerse yourself in it. And after a month, if you're like, "Well, I really don't like this," then you're just kind of stuck. So anyway, I want to explore what's in content creation, so tech, content creation, and just kind of making stuff. You teach me to take notes like you. I hope that I can. I hope that I can, but I don't know for sure. I've already got approval to buy it. Okay, cool. People like Prime make use of stream markers. Yeah, that I'm aware of, and I saw Theo do this when I raided the other day. What was sarcasm? I think I missed your. Oh, I'm just here for the points. Yeah, of course I know that. Yeah, I've never understood the co-working streaming thing, but it works well for some people. For me, as a streamer of it, occasionally, I just need time to get my tasks done. And they're tasks that I can't necessarily stream. And it doesn't need to be something that I stream, the co-working part of it. So maybe I'll eventually switch it over to Discord or something. I don't know. I'm probably going to try that soon too. That was true about drawing a robot and adding to a game. I would have viewers. I think it's true that it's followable. I don't think it's necessarily enough of a, a draw, maybe. Like, I think art is something that is generally pretty accessible. I think game dev is more accessible than it ever has been, but I don't think it's as accessible as art. And then I think there are things that are even more accessible, like, just chatting stream. Everyone can have a conversation. So it's pretty easy to watch and participate in. Strictly having Mod Organizer and Mod Nexus open to Mod Skyrim. I never actually played the game one time. Yeah. Yeah, long, boring tinkering. Yeah. It's all messages hilarious. Wonka was so good. What'd you think? I really liked it. I think it was great. I think it brought a certain whimsy to movie making that I haven't seen in a while. And I think it's rated PG, and maybe that's why I haven't seen it in a while. I don't generally watch PG movies because I find that there's only so much they can do with the plot. Like, if you went more dramatic or more severe, you'd get a higher rating. But yeah, Wonka was really enjoyable. And my wife like pretty much refused to watch the first movie, which I was dying to show her, and she's like, "This is slow. This is boring." So we got to watch one of the Wonka movies together, and so she got to enjoy some of the. There's like one or two songs I think that were in the original, so she got to enjoy those, and that was also fun. I like that. Focusing on gameplay more versus everyone seemingly writing all their own tech from scratch. Game. Wait, what? For more visuals. Oh yeah. Can't be as efficient as the person I'm watching. Really? Because I was going to say, I don't think of myself as efficient when I'm streaming. I look at most of the tasks that I do on stream and I always think, wow, I could do this faster if I weren't streaming. I don't know if that's even true though. That just could be me misrepresenting how I am as a developer. Maybe I really wouldn't get it done faster. And so maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just at the same level of efficiency no matter what. Yeah, I agree. It's hard to spectate. Yeah. And this is part of why I want to explore. And I think it's probably worth at least summarizing somewhere. It's worth summarizing why I'm even having this conversation. I think it's just to explore because I want to make content and I want it to be in tech/games. And I've thoroughly explored being a dev live streamer. Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that always strikes me is whenever you see someone who's been in a job for like 10, 15 years, and then they say, hey, it's time to try something new, and they send their going away email. I'm like, what? What caused that? And I'll never know. You got to actually talk to the person. They've got to be willing to bare their soul to you. I mean, sometimes it might be something they can share. Maybe it's like, well, I've just done this too much. But a lot of times it's like, my soul craves something, and they won't share it with you. How many sweet hours does it take to get good at chess? I think it's cool to go from being an amateur at something to being not an expert, but like 75th percentile or something like that. Or do percentiles work the other way? I think they don't. I think I mean 75th. It feels smart. You'll be angry though because he makes a lot of mistakes. So you say you need to innovate. I don't even know if it's innovate. I hold dear to me creating things. And so for example, and I really want everyone here to mark this on your calendar, April 1st at it's 10 a.m. my time, which is currently UTC -8, but actually then it's going to change. So this is a really bad way of doing things. I'll get the no, wait, I can't do that either. Anyway, whatever. Just be here on April 1st. We're going to play a game that is not going to be fun for anybody, and it's going to last for 10 minutes, and it'll be a lot of fun for me. But nobody playing the game. Anyway, this is along the lines of me creating something. I think what I'm about to do is innovative, and like I said, I think it's going to lead to a lot of disappointed people, but it's going to be fun to see. After failing exams, spent 3 months playing StarCraft 2 on ladder without any experience. Got it to platinum in a month. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, this sort of thing can happen, but there's got to be the motivation of doing it. And I think for playing an RTS, especially when you feel like you're procrastinating, I think it's there. But for doing something that you might not feel inclined to do, and maybe it's work. So let's say you've never touched a musical instrument before and you're like, I want to learn how to play the flute. That's not something you just pick up and you're like, wow, I'm really good at this. That's something you like struggle through and really force yourself to get better at. And so I don't think you can like slog through it for 8 hours a day unless you really like it. Learning a language in a year, learning to draw in a year, very interesting. I wonder if this is the person that I have a real life friend who mentioned somebody who tried two different, wildly different things. I think it was learning violin and it was like learning fencing or something. I don't even know what. Anyway, this I think would be very tough to do as a content creator because learning a language is so different from like learning violin or learning whatever else that you'll get a different audience every year essentially. I mean, you'll get some of the same people. One thing that taking notes really helped me with is visualizing exactly what I do or don't know about a subject. Always felt infinite thoughts whirling around my head. Yeah, definitely is good for that. So if you want to dip your feet in the water of this other style of content, what have we had? At least 3 streams talking about it. Is there some content you want to try? Then just is there? I'm asking this in the most sincere way. Is there any frustration behind this message, Caleb? Because part of this too is like sometimes I just want to talk, and in this case I think of it as like there is some new perspective I've had, and so I feel like there's something new to talk about here, but also it's just a furthering of this conversation, and I've been writing conclusions down, and yeah, we're probably going to change the stream a little bit as a result of this. And I don't know exactly what that's going to be, and I want to set up some different things for March. Gotta let chat code. This would be folly. Do you not watch sports? Do you feel the same about acting when you watch a movie? I just can't relate to that, but I understand what you mean. Oh, this. I see what the point is here, yeah. OG Wonka, best Wonka. I mean, the new one's pretty good. Nice, glad to hear that. Yeah, it was good. You know, driving 2 hours, see the second Dune movie. Yeah, tickets were pretty much sold out for us for the better theaters. So we're just going to sort of a regular theater. I don't want to get in some giant rant about this, but the theater where we're going to see this movie tonight, I went to pay for the tickets and it said they were like $25, and then they said there's like a $3 mobile fee. And they're like, you can waive this by signing up for whatever their membership is called. And I'm like, okay, I guess let me look into this. I signed up for the membership. I got to waive the fee. I got one ticket for free, but I paid the same price as the ticket, and then canceled the membership immediately. So basically they had me go through like 14 steps to buy 2 tickets just to save on some stupid fee that doesn't need to exist. Also, that they can hopefully keep milking you for subscription money. It's just so stupid. Like, this is what has become of monetization nowadays. Oh, and by the way, the unsubscription process was like every dark pattern you could imagine. And when you finally got done, there was one button on the page and it said, do you want to resubscribe? And I'm guessing if you press that button, it doesn't ask for confirmation or go through 14 other steps. It's just like, cool, you're giving us money again. You can go down a rabbit hole for 3 hours actually getting rid of the problem, which I'm very envious of. I just go, well, that sounds like a problem for future me. I think these conclusions are pretty good because I boiled it down to a few things I want to think about later, and I can then look at these and be like, what actually matters to me now? Because in brainstorming sessions, a lot of time, you become your own hype person, and then you're like, this is the best idea in the world. And when you go look at it later, like, what was I thinking here? And so I want to make sure that that's not happening, and that these are actually good ideas, so I want to look at them later. The organization course will be interesting. All right, let's see. I tried streaming programming many years ago. Biggest pros that you have people come by every stream to say hi and talk about stuff. Get tons of feedback. Downside was the pressure, feeling like you're being judged. I think the pressure I feel is a little less like I'm being judged and more like I have to entertain all the time. Are those conclusions publicly available? I guess technically yes. But I'll eventually delete them from this document. So let me paste this into chat. I'll paste it over here too. Yeah, it's just a Google Doc, and the conclusions are the ones at the top here. Yeah, sure. What did I Tim Ferriss had a series where he tries to learn difficult things in a week. I think that doesn't lend itself to Twitch style streaming. I don't know how much the learning process lends itself well to Twitch. I think one thing that's very cool about the learning process, and I think I've just been kind of lucky here, is that whatever it is I try to learn, some expert pops in and actually gives me helpful advice. This is not me being sarcastic. This is an actual thing that has happened for like practically every topic I've tried to learn. And there have been some niche things too. And that's great. There's no better way than to just have someone who knows what they're doing help you out. Stream coding twice. Fear of judgment got me too. Yeah, I maybe it's because I've streamed enough at this point, but I don't know if that crossed my mind even back in 2015 when I was starting. If I was afraid of being judged. I think I was. Yeah. I enjoy streamers and content creators discussing streaming and content creations. I think it's good to talk about. Whenever I see other streamers talk about this stuff, I'm like, wow, these aren't problems that just I experience. And I think that's the benefit of really sharing any of this stuff. It's like we're all connected. I like those long-term learning projects are better for YouTuber books, but I like the idea that anyone can learn anything. Watch me do it. Yeah. Yeah, and I think, you know what this is perfect as? This is perfect as a time lapse. And so if you're doing drawings, for example, just show how the drawings improved over time. If you're doing violin, take a snapshot at like 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. I mean, not snapshot because it's violin, so you'd have to actually hear them playing it. But yeah, those are the coolest things you can do, but that's a lot of time for a very small amount of content. Just came back from it, so good. Awesome, yeah. Yeah. Certain nights sign up, never go back and never cancel the membership. Yeah, I try to watch this stuff like a hawk. And I try to watch our credit card bill too, because every once in a while, my wife may or may not have forgotten to cancel a subscription. Is my keyboard wireless? It's not wireless, no. There are cables coming out of the top of it and then connected to both halves. And if you want to see more about the video or the keyboard itself, I just made a new video on Tuesday. Had that many times. Stream's great for that. Yeah, it's really, really good. How come you still use Docs when you got Obsidian? I studied Obsidian a bit today. Seems really nice. I should really make a command at this point about this. So let me go do that because people have asked this a bunch. Yeah, I don't have a command about that. So Google Docs. Why do you still use Google Docs if you also use Obsidian? Short answer is Google Docs is real-time sharing. And Obsidian still requires a like publishing, I guess. Also, Google Docs are generally for non-durable notes, like today's tasks or yeah, something like this. Yeah. Create a bot that gives streamers ideas for content. I mean, it's pretty much just ChatGPT, right? Start streaming all my daily job. Maybe I'll get some free expert advice. I mean, if you stream for long enough and you get enough people coming in, you will eventually have that happen. Yeah. What about notes in new VS Code tabs? What notes in new VS Code tabs? I don't know what you're talking about. Oops. Okay, so is there anything else I kind of wanted to discuss here? Yeah, I wrote this at the bottom. I mean, this is what Kayla's been asking multiple times. So what do I want? I try being a tech influencer for a month or two. I think I want to just test some things out. And I think that's what this helped me learn. And I wonder if doing a video on this is a good idea. I didn't call you ChatGPT. I think it's interesting to talk, sure, but in the last 3 out of 4 streams I've been in has been the same conversation. I'm starting to wonder about the indecision. When I want to do something, I look at 2 things: how much will doing X cost, and how much will coming back from X cost. Yeah, yeah. I feel you. I think I think there is indecision on the exact content that I'm doing. And also some of it is like, okay, I've mentioned I want to do interviews. Interviews aren't just like, okay, I've got a bunch of interested people. I'm going to go just have the interviews now. There's a lot of prep that goes into that. And this is what stopped me from setting this up. I have pretty much my life is currently like stream in the morning, quick lunch, play with the cat, stream in the afternoon, and then like life stuff and post work stuff. And this has been very full. I know this is how everyone's life is. It's work and then post work stuff. But I guess my point is the backlog is growing. And so all of these things of like, hey, put some thought into this aren't happening as much as they should because there are other things happening. And I'm trying to, I don't know, I'm just trying to grow and evolve through those things. And little things have already happened that you've seen take place, like me taking Tuesdays off for YouTube, me trying co-working streams so that I can get to some of those tasks without having to spend my weekend time. React to stuff, mix it up with tutorials and education. Yeah. Yeah. I'll probably test some of that out. Create a virtual atom, passive income. Does Abbott live in a land? You mean like a bot land? Why, yes, it does. Can we break down the prep for interviews? What is essential for the interviews and what are nice to haves that might be obscuring the path to making it happen? So I've never done one on stream before, so I can't point to one for potential interviewers. The other thing is scheduling on its own is just like obnoxious. It's hard to find times that work for people and then like plan for it. Also, this is live content, and I still always need to do that question aggregator thing. And then it's like figuring out how best do I do this? I guess. Anyway, it's not like a giant blocker. It's not like there's a major thing there. It's just, it feels bigger than it is because I'm not spending the time doing it. I'm not moving toward it. Oh, Procreate generates it for you? Yeah. Yeah. You're watching the real Adam right now. I really want to develop my own game. Where do you think I should start? Right now, I'm focusing on studying game dev and how it works. I think the easiest way to start is to just pick an engine that looks good to you, typically Unity, Godot, Unreal, and then just kind of mess around in it. And you'll quickly realize what it is you need more knowledge about. Maybe it's the coding section. Maybe you don't need coding. Maybe you use like Unreal's blueprints or something. Or Godot has, I think, Visual Script. And yeah, maybe you already know how to code and you get started and you're like, cool, I understand this stuff. And you're like, I don't know how to make artwork. And maybe that's what you get into. So yeah, I think it's less about kind of researching what you want to do and more about just kind of doing it. Sort of like what Caleb's saying here. I have a thing on, so you want to learn how to program. And this is not about game dev specifically, but I think some of the lessons from this will probably be helpful. Understand most stuff, but the code is so confusing I couldn't understand it. Yeah, so that's like I said, you'd quickly realize where you need more knowledge. And if it's the coding where you need more knowledge, then that's what you can start to focus on. And the nice thing is you can do it in the context of games. So you could say something like, look, I want to make a game that's already been done a million times, something like Pac-Man or Tetris. You can probably find like 1,000 Tetris clones out there on GitHub. Maybe not on GitHub. You can probably find them on the internet. And so you can see how other people do this stuff. And then you can learn from that. I mean, first think about how you would do it. And then if you struggle with it, then go see what they did. And maybe you're not even at that point where you're thinking algorithmically. Maybe you're just thinking like, how do I even make a character move? And yeah, there are lots and lots of tutorials out there. So yeah, I'd say go check out a YouTube video about a game that you want to make because people have done entire series on making a game from scratch. And I even did something like this a while ago. I made this game and I made a course for how to make this game, but it's probably a little bit more high level than what you would be interested in. Yeehaw, select a character. I can't even like play on this keyboard because WASD is in weird spots. Yeah. Anyway, it's very, very hard to control this. But yeah, if you want to make a game like this, you can follow my course. Were there spells? How do I use those? Ah, there we go. The course is free, by the way, and it's just on YouTube, so you can just look at it on there. I'm thinking about making a loot system. I don't have to think about, and yeah, maybe I should make a survivors type. You know, a lot of what you do doesn't have to have an end goal. If you want to make a loot system just for the sake of making a loot system, there doesn't even have to be a game. But people have probably had those exact same thoughts and then made games out of them. I played some, what was that game called? It's a game where you have a bag that holds items and the bag changes in kind of like weird ways. It's not a perfect grid. And so your item management, Backpack Hero, thank you. That was amazing. I want to just show pictures and not the actual game itself. Yeah, something like this. So you had to manage your inventory. And that probably started as like, hey, I just want to make a loot system. Like I like how the Diablo games did things. And it's pretty cool. Thanks, Jesse. You think 3D games are harder than 2D? I do, yeah. But I don't think that means your first game can't be 3D. And if that's what motivates you, then that's probably what you should pursue. Make keywords that are bad for playing those games. I mean, if I had a QWERTY layout, it wouldn't be so bad. Yeah. Something that always has a market is great tools for devs. Content making, something like a loot system that can be plopped in, sell the asset. Yeah, and I think it'd be cool to try something like that at some point. I don't know when I'm ever going to get to those sorts of ideas. I have a calendar reminder that just popped up that said something like, look through my potential projects. I have a gigantic list that I just called like potential projects and topics. And it's not even necessarily private, although I have it in my private notebook, so I can't show it on screen. But there's just like a million things on there. And yeah, one of them is, yeah, make something for an asset store. Yeah. Sorry, I should have added a kappa. All right, well, I think this has been pretty good. Yeah, my whole conclusion here that I had, doing too much development. You know, we talked about it. And so here's what I think I'm going to do out of this. I think I'm going to try some streams where we're chatting about a topic that is not this necessarily. And I don't know what that'll be at first. And maybe the easiest way to ease myself into this is with group mentoring stuff. Maybe ease my way into this with group mentoring. Yeah. Also, these streams probably be slightly shorter than normal. 2 hours is a limit without breaks. I really should have just taken breaks, I guess. I know I said I didn't need to. I know people talked about it. Did I miss the thoughts about content creation? I kind of. I've got some conclusions in this document at the top, although I don't know how sensible they're going to be. I'm trying to make a game that has a dice rolling mechanism like Baldur's Gate 3 within a visual novel. What game engine would you recommend for that? Really anything. I mean, you could accomplish this in any game engine that can render pixels to a screen. So you could decide, do you want to do it sprite based? Do you want to like a 3D model of a die and then it's actually physics based? Do you want to just randomize it and it's just doing some spinning effect? Yeah, hey Zaphoid. Similar title last week. I missed that too. Sounds kind of ominous. Yeah, the one last week was talking about the future of the stream. And that was just me trying to figure out like what's going on, what I want to do. And I changed some things. I don't know. I don't have like super concrete conclusions yet, but I do want to mix this up. I do want to do a little bit less developing on stream and just kind of see where things go. But all right, I have talked myself out of energy. Thanks. I will enjoy Dune. You have a good dinner. Video is generating. I don't think it'll be good. Uh-oh. Well, post it to Discord. Look at the cliff notes later, yeah. What's the easiest with the dice mechanism? Because it's a randomizer for the final result, shouldn't be the core. I'm not sure what you're asking. Dune in English in my favorite theaters sold out for the next 3 days. Yeah. Yeah, it was not that easy to get into even this one. All right, who's in software and game dev that I have not hosted yet? Who speaks English? Let's see. Let's take a look at this person. Do you wonder if you just need to pick something and go for it because you're never going to know what it's like to actually do something? Yeah, I mean, I think so. I definitely think so. I mean, I'll write this down. I think there's a certain amount of just like to try the thing out. And I think this, no, I appreciate it. Would you feel happy if you just had an anonymous benefactor who financially supported you and you could do whatever you wanted? Or did you need to feel successful too? I think I'd be fine with that. Yeah. And then I think I'd probably do, I don't know, maybe very different things. Like, I've always wanted to get back into writing. I want to get back into music creation. Those are things I don't think I should be streaming. And if I were to stream, I don't know what that would look like. Here's the video. Can you post this on Discord, Liquidor? So, or even DM it to me or something? It'll just save me a step of having to copy it. Don't have a background in game dev, so I'm just asking because I don't want to spend much time on the dice. I put more energy into the storytelling and writing part. Oh, I see. Oh, the easiest way is just generate a random number and cut out the die entirely. Just do like random dot, next int. This is made up. You don't need to copy this off the stream, but 1,6 or 1,20 or whatever number of sides you have. And then just say you rolled a 20 and that's it. Just don't even have a die. And that way you could focus on all the other stuff because the dice rolling effect is something that you can add in later. But basing things on random elements is something that is core to your game. Okay. Yeah, I see the Juicebox Hero streaming. And I would want to raid her. I'm trying to go through pretty much the whole software and game dev category and just raid everybody who's here. All right, fine. Let's raid her. Okay. Thank you, Liquidor. All right, so raid Juicebox Hero. There we go. She's going to be online for like 13 more hours. That's nuts. That's just nuts. Oh, well, thank you all for the input. Really, thank you for being here. I appreciate this. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I'll be back on Monday. Monday, we're going to do research for a video I want to make on Tuesday about bind addresses. And then if there's any extra time, which I'm sure there will be, I'll figure something else out. It'll probably be more development stuff. Yeah. Take care, everyone. See ya. I want to watch Dune later. Super excited.